Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our webinar by Intellectsoft. So today's topic is digital transformation in the construction industry, thinking one step ahead. And we are going to outline how engineering and construction companies are transforming their operations and business processes during their XD evolution roadmap. I'm Ilya, and I represent Intellectsoft's business development team. And today I am going to be your moderator for the webinar. And I will also be accompanied by my colleagues Tim and Yuri. Before we start, please note that you can leave all your questions at the Q&A chat, and we will make sure to cover all of them during the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. And also, if due to lack of time or any other reasons, we won't be able to process your questions, we will definitely send elaborate answers via emails after the webinar. So let me begin with a short overview of our company. So Intellectsoft was founded in 2007, and since then we have grown to a full-fledged boutique digital transformation consultancy that provides cutting-edge engineering solutions for various global organizations. It also provides software development services and emerging technologies solutions. Our mission is to provide enterprises and startups with extended technological capabilities that can always help them overcome challenges on their digital transformation roadmap. Our headquarters is located in Palo Alto, California, and our delivery centers are located in the Eastern Europe. And we also have onshore consultancy and sales presence all over the Western Europe and the USA. Over 13 years, we have built a strong customer portfolio that includes world top brands from both Fortune 500 enterprises and startups that are currently on the way becoming unicorns. Our portfolio includes a number of engineering and construction companies for which we completed numerous projects, starting, for example, with simple mobile development, and ending with, for example, carrying out complex IT infrastructure projects for their organizations and various enterprise integrations. Over the years, we've got awarded and recognized for our technological excellence and capabilities to deliver qualitative solutions to customers from such industries as construction, financial, healthcare, and hospitality. So let's move on to the topic of our webinar. And today we are overviewing the most crucial transformation trends and areas at the engineering and construction domain. And we will, of course, cover the ways how the companies in this domain get transformed or get digitally transformed with a few practical use cases. So first of all, speaking of the ongoing healthcare crisis, I'd like to mention that as coronavirus continues to spread around the world, more and more enterprises are surely to miss their financial goals, for example, due to supply chain disruptions or sort of dampened customer demand. But still, on the other hand, we can certainly witness a few positive impacts of COVID-19 on enterprises and various companies. For example, it can be improved corporate ability of long-distance collaborative work, and also wide recognition of the value of digital transformation and information technology among all employees, among all stakeholders of value chains of different the business domains. For instance, lots of companies gained even more abilities for advanced online marketing and online business development. So the COVID-19 situation has clearly shown to us that the most vulnerable industries right now are those who lack digitalization and technical maturity. So the construction industry obviously is one of them. On the one hand, creating $1.3 trillion worth of structures each year only in the USA. The construction industry still remains one of the most under-digitized industries in the world. And we believe that to stay one step ahead of the crisis, the industry requires a brand different approach to its digital strategy. So currently and nowadays, the construction industry is affected by 4 core trends in 4 domains. So they are market and customers, sustainability and resilience, society and workforce, and politics and regulation. And we believe that the industry needs to identify and implement optimal and effective responses to those huge trends with respect to the opportunities they offer and of course with respect to the challenges they pose. There are a lot of stakeholders along the construction value chain, like individual companies or private companies, the industry as a whole, and of course governments. It's true that they all should take rapid actions to move the industry forward. So, for instance, private companies should actively shape the transformation, and for their purposes, they should assess and examine the various opportunities presented in the new technologies and materials, and then use them to adjust their processes, operations, and also business models accordingly. If companies could structure their organization in an optimal way, they'll probably have the best chance of success by means of implementing the opportunities on a larger scale. Technology is having a huge impact on the industry, engineering and construction industry. So from robots and drones to, for example, connected job sites or integrated BIM, 2020 will see an incredible array of digital technologies transforming how a lot of engineering and construction firms operate. So robots are beginning to enter construction in several areas. For instance, autonomous rovers that can increase the efficiency and quality of site inspections. And it's also, for example, mechanical arms that can automate highly repetitive tasks, for example, bricklaying. Automation of construction sites, for instance, could also significantly improve productivity. At the same time, create a safer work environment, and also help to address the industry's shortage of labor. Digital technologies bring with them some essential impacts on the engineering and construction work. So who does it, how it is done, and even where it is done. Things like, for instance, geolocation, what else? Remote site monitoring, personnel location tracking, live markups, and of course, seamless transfer of as-built information and data. So those all can help optimize communications at connected job sites and improve worker safety. But enough about generalities. Let's dive into a few real life implementation scenarios of digital transformation in the construction industry. And please welcome the next speaker, Tim Kozak.
Thanks, Ilya. Hi, everyone. My name is Tim. I'm one of the solution architects here at Intellectsoft. My specializations are mobile solutions, web-based platforms, and also everything that is connected to blockchain technologies. Today, I'll help you to discover all the latest technological possibilities you can have in your digital transformation roadmap. So, digital transformation in the construction industry is not just a nice to have thing from like design, estimating, or a safety perspective. It is also becoming a part of state regulations in most developed countries. These countries like UK, Norway, Finland, Austria, Germany, etc. So in these countries, they have introduced their digital transformation requirements for public, government, and in some cases for the private sector even. UK, for example, introduced their basic levels of like a BIM specification back in 2011. And in 4 years, they saved around £2 billion across all government projects. Right now, their goal is to create a specification for something they call BIM level 3. And this level of BIM will cover the entire building life cycle. But how we would like to approach this is we want to visualize the potential digital transformation steps as different layers or dimensions of the BIM repository and other essential tools. So what we would be doing is imagining the perfect digitization phases for the building development. And in these phases, the adoption of 3D and CAD modeling would be the base layer, and each new layer or dimension would add like more interactions between parties, collaboration opportunities, and other benefits. Yeah, so let's start with the ecosystem. We can see on this slide that it's pretty diverse and decentralized, even though this is already a simplified diagram. So we have customer who would be the project owner. We have a cost control department, management layer with the project managers, operation managers, third-party vendors and contractors, and also regular engineers and developers. And all of them to a certain level will be participating in the system with their interactions. Yeah, so we start with the 3D, like 3 dimensions. So in 3D case, our base level would, we assume that all designing and engineer work is done in 3D. So all initial documentation right from the start of the project is digital. So we have architects and engineers collaborating, sharing this information in our system. So on the technical level, the capabilities of the system at this point are simple resource management system for roles, distribution, and schedules management. It can manage CAD and 3D models, spreadsheets, and other documentation files. All these files are stored, versioned, associated with the responsible people. What it brings us First, a system where 3D models treated as a master blueprint of everything. Sharing and collaboration are pretty advanced here, and we have a lot of collaboration possibilities. It brings us simpler file management and versioning, full text search, file search, so you can easily find a required file or information by its content. And also it brings us huge paper usage reduction. But this is just the first level. So the fourth dimension would be time. So imagine that we kicked off the documentation creation process on the previous layer. And now in this layer, as we can see, more people and more parties are engaged. Because everything started to move around based on phased project execution. In this version of Beam repository, we have planning and estimation layer, integration with construction management tools, documents, materials, phases approvals, and their workflows. Also deep integration with design and construction simulation tools. So what it brings us here is even more advanced collaboration and also additional planning possibilities, faster design, approval, and development process, and also the complete project visibility for each phase from planning to development stage. Fifth dimension would be costs. So imagine that you can easily select one floor in your building and right away see the costs of this floor, this particular floor. Or you can see like a comparison of estimated cost for a particular building subsystem and compare it to real expenses, for example. Or even you can automatically calculate worker salary based on his activity or location during the day. All of this is what the system layer is all about. So in this repository version, we have more integrations and parties in the system. So the most obvious would be deep ERP system integration, a budgeting module for phases cost breakdown, equipment tracking system, integration of metadata about materials and their association with particular beam model objects. Also, what can be here is advanced geofencing mapping for live check-in and checkout for the workers and automated salaries calculation. So it brings us a complete project cost visibility from the cost perspective. All historical data now includes costs, so you can see everything from planning to procurement to execution phases. It simplifies the cost management, so you don't need to calculate the salaries, for example. All is done automatically. And also the reporting possibilities are much richer for this stage. So 6D, so this sixth dimension is the layer when we add even more parties here. So all third-party vendors management would also happen in the system, and it would be also tracked there. So all accumulated system knowledge will be used by all subcontractors and vendors. In this layer, the version of the system, we would have like more advanced project resources visibility system and permissions layer improvement. And as a result, all parties engaged in whole development would be using one and the same system, So the complete collaboration of all stakeholders that would be sharing the same model would be here. And also the full construction life cycle would be under control. So the seventh dimension is all about post-production management. So on a sixth dimension, we finished building like of the building. And now on the seventh dimension, it's all about post-production, operations, and reconstruction. So where the Beam repository would help here? So first, it would help to make the transition from development to maintenance to be a seamless and painless process, because it stores like it has the complete visibility of all historical data of the particular building or project. It has all information about all the vendors engaged, and also it has all the details about the materials associated with particular BIM objects, right? And everything is ready for upgrades, because you can add additional layers to this, like a security system information on top of it, or IoT sensors, or smart meters, or lightning control. Everything like this is not a problem. Eighth dimension is last but not least, and it's safety. So safety during the project and also when it's completed. So this layer of the system also includes additional tools for risk management, additional integration with ERP about dangerous goods, or assets lifecycle management. It also has like embedded emergency and disaster recovery. And also you can use all the knowledge base as a historical archive for the backtracking. So as we can see, it turns the project into a living and breathing ecosystem with its own laws and capabilities. So basically it creates like a digital representation of whole building with the mapping to its granular parts. Yeah, so this was the ideal project digitization phases. And that's it for me. My colleague Yuri would tell you more about cases that we've had with our clients and the real project we implemented. So it will help you to understand more about the particular parts of the software you can use right now in your developments. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Hey, everyone. My name is Yuri. I'm a solution architect in Intellectsoft. I've been working in the IT industry for about 11 years, and my experience includes projects in different business domains like traveling, finance, event management, and IoT solutions. So throughout our experience in Intellectsoft, we have faced with a bunch of challenges of the construction domain. We have successfully solved and implemented them as solutions for our clients. And today, I want to draw your attention to the most significant ones. So the first one is resource management. First of all, let's give a definition of resource management itself. It's a process, I would say, of pre-planning, scheduling, and allocating your resources with only one final goal: to maximize efficiency. Basically, resources can be anything, beginning from people or employees to machinery. They are whatever you need to complete your project or task. For a construction company or industry in general, a resource can include a special piece of equipment or tool, a vehicle, trucks, devices, materials, and so on. Understanding your resources upfront and planning how to use them, I think, is a key to troubleshooting gaps or problems before they happen. So resources management becomes even more efficient and straightforward if you aim to transform your business processes digitally. Based on our experience, there are two key components of resource management. The first one is ERP, which stands for, you probably know, Enterprise Resource Planning. And second one is a flexible workflow engine as a part of ERP system. So ERP covers all the aspects and branches of business and resource planning as well. Project planning as a basis of scheduling, resource management itself as a part or submodule of the whole system. Of course, including people management. Vendors or subcontractors are the entities which are managed by ERP system as well. On-site activities tracking is another key point, including inspections, geofencing for a particular business domain. Time tracking solution used by all employees registered in the system. Delivery and logistics system. For example, a solution or application for truck drivers. And a notification system which enforces everything and everyone involved. And finally, a flexible workflow engine as a part of ERP is a solution that lets you quickly adjust the system to your business needs. Please, next slide. BIM Manager. BIM stands for Building Information Modeling. It's another topic I would like to cover today. So by using BIM for generation and management of physical and functional information about our facility, we finally create a digital representation of these entities, which in turn produces a considerable stream and amount of data about business processes and activities, sensors, machines, organizations, vendors. It's just a small example of usual data producers. And need in leveraging this significant amount of data, doing some analytics or training AI system brings us to the problem of efficient management and sharing this collected data. To solve it appropriately, we apply the list of technologies such as single data repository for heterogeneous BIM data of unlimited volume, which is the only source of information used to collect, manage, and disseminate documentation. It covers data access management, which in turn includes roles and permissions, third-party authentication provider support, data providers integrations and transformations, usually through API of third-party vendors, data indexation and post-processing by different types of search engines, data visualization as a generation of accurate drawings and documentation in all supported dimensions like 2D, 3D, or even probably 4D. And all that leads to event-driven architecture, which implies automatic data update propagation for real-time data stream processing and analysis. Please, next slide. Yes, so the next use case is a risk manager. I would say there is never a good time for companies to take risk with their projects. In that sense, an exhaustive risk management plan is a must-have in your construction operation. By putting risk management into practice, companies usually face with a list of challenges, as complex workflow for risk management with tricky multi-step pipelines and actions, prevalent of Excel custom unmaintainable documents, which is kind of attempt to solve complex workflow challenges. And finally, significant amount of roles involved in a risk analysis and approval processes. As a practically efficient solution, we use to apply our digitalization framework here, which includes straightforward adjustable risk management workflows with customized user interface for each involved user role, digitalization of risk knowledge base with extensive project categorization, and which is, of course, easily accessible for all interested employees and open for enhancement with a feedback from completed projects. And finally, it's a unified place for task management, deviation reporting with smart notifications and escalation systems. And I believe, please, next slide, is the last topic from my side is a blast manager. For a lot of companies, modern road construction with hundreds of kilometers blasting of surface and tunnels, it's still a paper process, which implies slow data synchronization, not efficient decision making, and absence of process tracking instruments, and of course, not optimal planning. As a solution that we have suggested and successfully implemented for this particular industry domain, we use the full lifecycle digitalization of the blast area, which includes hose configuration, drilling, and explosion calculations. These are the processes that were covered by applying automation of engineering tasks, which require mathematical models and complex algorithms, calculations, and applications. Convenient UI UX design and functionality, which allows users to review modeling results or location landscapes in detailed high-level quality 3D views. Of course, automation of approval and execution of business processes, collection of telemetry data through integration with all the required type of devices and facilities. And finally, storing all this information in a central repository for further processing and analysis. And of course, reporting. Using just mentioned central data repository, we could easily leverage this information or data for building all the required types of reports and summaries to cover your business needs. I believe that's everything from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuri, very much. And Tim also, thank you, colleagues, for the insights and for sharing your experience. So I'd like to do a short summary from my side. So I believe there is a lot of uncertainty and challenges around digital transformation in the engineering and construction industry. And so it should be, so considering, a huge variety of technologies, different use cases and solutions on the market. And what I'd like to mention that Intellectsoft as a company, we have strong domain expertise for construction industry by means of advising the right solutions that solve particular business challenges while delivering and deploying those solutions. So before we end the webinar, we already have several questions from the audience to answer. And of course, like feel free to add new questions to the chat, to the Q&A chat as well. So we will try to cover all of them today on the webinar. So the first question. So I believe the question is to Yuri. So does Beam repository imply its own model format? So Yuri.
Well, thank you for a question. And I wouldn't say so, because it does not introduce any kind of strict or well-known module format, as it integrates with multiple existing formats such as IFC, probably XML, and some proprietary ones like Trimble. And this integration includes different aspects or features like storage, revision management, metadata management like extraction, searching, and so on. And basically, we don't want organizations to abandon their existing tools and investments. So instead, we are aiming to provide a single platform for managing evolution of their existing model artifacts. Yeah.
Thank you, Yuri, very much. Thank you for an extensive and elaborate answer. And the next question I can see, I believe it's truly for Tim. So the question is, so Tim, where do you see the biggest value of Beam repository?
Yeah, thanks for the question. So we think that the biggest value is obviously not like obviously right from the start from the project. So it results in much less the paper usage in all of this, seamless collaboration, etc. But the biggest value I would see would be visible further down the line, because you can build a lot on top of this Beam repository, because as I said, it's providing visibility to all metadata across whole project, and it includes a lot of layers for the business and also technical layers. So for example, if you build a bridge, you can use this Beam repository in real time to see the feedback of if you change the actual model and collaborate in real time about those changes. And also, of course, you can add stuff to it. You can add integrations, and maybe for particular subsystem, even like some AI technology would be responsible for some decision making or data processing or building some models even. So yeah, the value of it is basically one point of truth, one single system for all of the integration and interactions.
Yeah, thank you, Tim, very much. Don't leave me right away, because I have a sort of geographical question for you too. So how is Beam adopted throughout the world?
Thank you. So as I mentioned, there are like a list of countries that are very advanced in this sphere. So Australia, Norway were the first countries to establish some standards, some beam standards. And they also are the first ones that are started to regulate this beam projects for the public projects. So, and other Nordic countries, I believe, the UK, France, also follow in these countries. So I would say the Nordic countries are very keen to a very large construction sector in those states.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. It was really informative, specifically for those who also like geography. So coming to the next question. So the question is, how off-the-shelf solutions differ from custom-built software? And I truly believe Yuri can help with that question, because in our calls with them, with our potential customers, he has been asked this question around 100 times. So Yuri, could you please assist me?
Yes, sure. I think that custom solutions are competing with product ones on the market, especially in the customer specific areas like feature demands, probably codes and changes velocity. And in other words, it's all about granularity of customization and quality of further support and flexibility. So that's how it looks like. And sometimes demand for some feature could be lagging years before it's available in vendor-based software. So it always pros and cons, and I believe I've covered them.
Yeah, thank you, Yuri. Definitely pros and cons for both solutions, and it's only a matter of the specific business challenge or specific business problem when you need to select which approach to use. So the next question, I definitely believe the question is for Tim, as it was the topic he was covering today. So Tim, do you believe that, or do you think it's even possible to have further dimensions like 9D, 10D, or even 11D and further on the layered digital model?
Thank you. Yeah, as I mentioned on 7th layer about the renovations, reconstructions, and updates, as a result of 6th dimension, you would have something you might call a digital twin of a building. And it means that all information about physical state of the building parts is somehow digitally represented in a system. And yes, surely you can easily add more layers to it, like a security layer or lightning control or some IoT sensors. You can put them around and control from the system right away in real-time manner. So basically, you can add a lot more layers for the real-time building management. And also, you can start creating a even the layer for the future demolition of the building right away after the building, actually. So it can be used in the future when you decide to build it from scratch. Yeah, so basically you can add these layers because, as I mentioned, the Beam repository is a basement for these layers, and you can add them as required.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. Thank you very much for your elaborate explanation. And yes, I hope sooner you specifically and Yuri will have more chance to work with other dimensions that they appear, and specifically with technologies related to other dimensions. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your questions. I can see there are still a bunch of questions we are unfortunately not able to answer right on the webinar, as the time is almost over. But don't be afraid, we will cover all of the questions in the written mode, and we'll send you elaborate answers to your emails within a few next business days. So we are all staying at home, so we have pretty much time to write excellent answers to your questions. So, and if you haven't had a chance to ask your question during within the chat, you can definitely send them to us. So following the information on our website or following the information at the closing slide. And we will also make sure to answer all of them either in email or while calling you back and giving an answer. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Yuri and team. And so stay tuned for the new activities from Intellectsoft. So goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.